Welcome into our Philadelphia Eagles Now post-game show. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I greatly appreciate you for making this instant reaction video a part of your evening, or if you're waking up with this on Friday, thanks for watching the show. What started off as a very stressful Eagles game ended up being a 26-18 Eagles victory, and really it wasn't that close because the Commanders in garbage time able to score a touchdown and convert on a two-point conversion. It was really a 26-10 ball game. But it started off stressful. It was a roller coaster. Jake Elliott cost this team 7 points, missing 2 field goals from 44 yards, then from 51, and an extra point. The Eagles offense was moving the ball at moments, but they couldn't capitalize in the red zone. They were 0 of 2 in the red area against the 30th ranked red zone defense in the National Football League. And you're thinking, are the Eagles going to cost themselves a ball game here where they're clearly the better team? Instead, they just blow the doors off of this game in this fourth quarter, and they have now won 6 games in a row. The Eagles, after this 8-point victory, 8-2, atop the NFC East in sole possession of first place in this division, they were down 10-6 entering the fourth quarter. They scored 3 rushing touchdowns. They went on a 20-0 run, able to drop 20 points in 10 minutes. Philadelphia with 229 rushing yards on the night, and Saquon Barkley had nearly 200 total yards. I also have to acknowledge how well this Philadelphia Eagles defense played, because they stopped Washington on 10 of their first 11 third and fourth downs. Vic Fangio continues to be in his bag. Jalen Carter playing at an all-pro level. Zack Baun playing at an all-pro level. Quinyon Mitchell and this Eagles secondary had Terry McLaurin clamped up throughout this football game. And really, where this game changed was a critical fourth down stop headlined by Zack Baun, where the Commanders went for it on a 4th and short, down 12-10. They could have kicked a field goal to go up by 1. Instead, they go for it. Jayden Daniels fumbles the snap, tries to run to the right. He gets stopped, and that turned the momentum of this game, and then Saquon Barkley ran wild. And how about Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley not only is the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, leading the NFL in rushing yards, leading the NFL in scrimmage yards, there is a case to be made that Saquon Barkley could be the NFL MVP so far here in Week 11. The impact that he has on this team, the offense runs through him. He is a part of this Eagles identity where they just wear teams down throughout the course of a 60-minute ball game. And going into this game, Saquon was averaging 4+ yards per carry in the first half, 7 yards per carry in the second half. And what does he do? Once again, he runs wild in the second half. On the night, 26 carries, 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, a long of 39. And then 2 catches for 52 yards, a long of 43. And the reception that he had for 43 yards was also a momentum-changing point in this game where Jalen Hurts had to drop it off for him. He was able to flip the field, break a tackle, get the Eagles deep into Washington territory, and from there, they were also able to put points on the scoreboard. Saquon Barkley is just an explosive player. Thank you so much to the New York Giants for letting him go, for not wanting to retain him at the cost of a few $1 million. Howie Roseman said, this is a dynamic player. This is a player that among active players averages the 3rd most scrimmage yards per game in the National Football League behind Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. We'll up that salary a couple of $1 million to take him off the Giants' hands. And what did I say going into this year? Saquon Barkley has never had this amount of skilled position players around him. He's never had the quarterback play that he has around him with Jalen Hurts, who was terrible to start the game, by the way, then got better as the night went on. He's never had this type of offensive line play, and I had said, I think that Saquon Barkley can be the Eagles' version of Christian McCaffrey this year. He can be the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. I had people in the comment section here on Eagles Now. I had people in my mentions on social media saying, Chase, you're crazy. It's never going to happen. Well, how about this? When you compare what Barkley has done through 10 games and what Christian McCaffrey did for the Niners last year through 10 games, when, by the way, he led the NFL in all-purpose yards with more than 2,000, Saquon Barkley through 10 games, 134.7 yards per game. Christian McCaffrey, 126.4. He's done just as much as McCaffrey did last year when he was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, top 5 in MVP voting, if not more. Saquon Barkley has been absolutely incredible for this football team. And the touchdown runs that he had, there was a third down run in which he was able to get the corner and just take it to the pylon, shot out of a cannon, and then the long run for 40-plus yards, he was untouched, and the Eagles sideline went absolutely crazy, which goes to show you how much he is respected by all of his teammates. This dude is a dog. This dude is a special player. And to think that he is playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's wild. He is an MVP candidate at the running back position in 2024 when the league has become a passing game. Number 26. What a special player. So much more to get to here on our postgame show. We do want to hit our sponsor, though, our friends at DraftKings, an incredible sponsor under the Chat Sports umbrella, and we want to partner with them for many years to come. You can help us do that and accomplish that because it really goes a long way in supporting all of our content, which is free, by the way, when we can land sponsorships like this. How do you make it happen? You use the code SixersChat, myself, producer Chip. We have a 76ers channel here at Chat Sports. That's why the code is SixersChat. But how about this deal? You bet $5, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. And for everybody who had Eagles -4, they covered. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Vegas. First time here, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And the bets that we like, thanks to our friends at DraftKings going into this game, Eagles -4, they cover. A.J. Brown anytime touchdown. He was targeted once in the end zone by Jalen Hurts. That pass broken up by Mike Sainristil. And then DeVonta Smith, he was the birthday boy, 60-plus receiving yards, but it was Saquon Barkley who stole the show. But the Jayden Daniels, under 223.5, he only threw for 192 passing yards as this Eagles defense continues to be outright fantastic. More on Saquon here, by the way. I'm just amazed at what this dude is doing. He reached a top speed of 20.78 miles per hour on his 23-yard touchdown run. His 5th run this year of over 20 miles per hour, most in the NFL. He also leads the NFL in explosive runs of 10-plus yards in the second half of games this year with 17. Eagles' offensive line really starts to gather momentum and find their groove as the game wears on. And Saquon Barkley able to do that as well. To see him be able to run finally behind a legitimate offensive line, it's fantastic. As for Jake Elliott, do the Eagles have a kicker problem? I got shit during that Jaguars game when he missed a field goal, and I had said, Jake Elliott, he hasn't been good this year. Look, coming into this game, he had connected on 80% of his field goals. He had more misses in this game than he had all of last year. The Eagles gave him a contract extension and put him right up there with Justin Tucker as the highest paid kicker in the NFL. He has not been good all year. Now, you can blame Nick Sirianni at moments this season for electing to go for it in situations and not letting Jake Elliott kick the ball. But look, when you're a kicker and your number is called, you have to split the uprights. That is your job. I don't care if you're stale on the bench. He's a kicker. He's always sitting idly on the sideline, right? Jake Elliott has not been good this year. And tonight, he almost cost the Eagles the game. Missed from 44, missed from 51, missed an extra point. He is dealing with the yips. He's dealing with mental hurdles right now. He has to get it together. Is it to a point where the Eagles are going to work out kickers? Maybe they try to mess with his head a little bit and they try to send him a message, you better get your ass in gear, and they bring in some kickers for workouts this upcoming week. They're not going to let go of Jake Elliott, especially after signing him to that contract. Throughout his career, he has been an incredible kicker. Jake the Make, going back to the Super Bowl, he was clutch. That year, he hit the 61-yarder against the New York Giants. So often, he has come through in massive situations. This year, though, he has not been good, and it's a worry for this football team. Let's talk defense here. Vic Fangio continues to coach his ass off. And during the 5-game winning streak going into this game, which is now a 6-game winning streak, the Eagles were giving up 10 points per game. They were the number 1 overall defense in the NFL. They were giving up just more than 200 total yards of offense per game. And they had given up 4 total touchdowns during that stretch. Look at what they did against one of the top flight offenses in the NFL tonight. And a lot of these yards, 70 plus of them were in garbage time for Washington. 264 total yards, 18 first downs, 3 of 12 on third down, 1 of 11 on their first 11 attempts that actually meant something. And they were top 5 in time of possession. Eagles were able to hold them in check. They had Washington only averaging 4.2 yards per play. Jayden Daniels only threw for 171 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. They forced 1 turnover, did this Philadelphia defense, as Reed Blankenship did it again. How many clutch plays does Reed Blankenship make time and time again? And has he come through with some of those clutch plays throughout his career? And a viewer pointed this out during the watch party. They're all the same. All in big moments, all diving picks. And the interception of Jayden Daniels was really icing on the cake. How about Quinyon Mitchell, by the way? He was aligned across from Terry McLaurin on 20 of his 25 routes, 80%, including 19 of 20 aligned wide, 95%. Mitchell was not targeted on any of his coverage snaps against Terry McLaurin and was targeted once all night and gave up 0 catches. So 25 routes against McLaurin, and he doesn't give up a catch. Does not give up any receiving yards. Was not even targeted. This is incredible. Quinyon Mitchell is playing like one of the top corners in the NFL. Howie Roseman did it. And Cooper DeJean's playing like one of the top corners in the game. Coming into this game, he was the 4th highest graded corner in the NFL, was Cooper DeJean. The Eagles have themselves a bona fide lockdown corner on the outside and out of the slot with Cooper DeJean. Elsewhere on this Eagles defense, the season that Zack Baun is having, considering that he did not play off-ball linebacker last year for the New Orleans Saints, is one of the more incredible stories that I've ever seen from a player development standpoint and player identification standpoint. Howie Roseman identified him, signed him to a 1-year deal, He's making a little more than $1 million. That's a classic Howie Roseman signing. Vic Fangio identified him as a player who, let's not use him as an outside linebacker pass rusher. Let's use him as an off-ball linebacker and a pass coverage guy. Coming into this game, and these numbers are probably going to go up, Zack Baun was probably the second best off-ball linebacker in the NFL behind Fred Warner. He had a coverage grade coming into this game at 91.1. That was second behind Fred Warner. Made more plays against the pass again, made more plays against the run, and had that stop on that critical fourth down, which helped turn this game. And so this Eagles team really at all three levels is just playing synchronized football, and that's what good coaching does. Think about how bad this Eagles defense was last year. Bottom 5 in almost every major category. For it to flip this much year over year, wild. Jalen Carter, just disrupting plays time and time again. Against the run, against the pass, collapsing the pocket. Some of his plays don't get shown on the stat sheet. But they show up when you watch the film. And also, the Eagles are +8 in turnover differential during the 6-game winning streak. Over the last 4 games, they have forced 11 turnovers. They have 22 sacks over the 6-game winning streak as well. And these young players continue to ball. Nakobe Dean, another good night. Nolan Smith, another sack. He has now registered at least a half sack in 3 of his last 5 games. This is a sound football team here that's really playing well at all levels and playing a very complementary brand of football. What's crazy about this game, the Eagles won 26-18. They covered. They pretty much won 26-10. And offensively, they played a C plus B minus game. Not even kidding. Jalen Hurts was missing reads early. The protection wasn't all that good. Jalen Hurts was missing some throws. 18 of 28 on the night, 221 yards, 7.9 yards per completion, a rating of 88.5, sacked twice. So they play a C plus B minus game, and they still put up 26 points. They dropped 20 points in the fourth quarter, 23 points after recess. It's a damn good football team right here. And they beat a really, really good Washington team. And now all the detractors saying Eagles aren't all that good. They haven't beaten anybody. They beat a 7-2 or 7-3 team that's now 7-4. And they really throttled them. They dominated them. And don't tell me that the Eagles were not good in this game, because when you factor in all 60 minutes, you have to factor in how they ended the game in a dominant fashion and dropped 20 points in the fourth quarter. That is part of their identity. They wear teams down, and they get better as the game wears on. And how about Nick Sirianni now? 42-19 as the head coach in the NFL, second highest winning percentage among active coaches. Don't do with Nick Sirianni what people were doing during Andy Reid's tenure in Philadelphia, where you pretty much tried to drive him out of town. Now, at the end of his tenure, 14 years, it got a little bit ugly, and it was good for the Eagles to move on. He ended up winning 3 rings with Kansas City. The Eagles got their Super Bowl with Doug Peterson, so it worked out for both parties. Nick Sirianni is a good coach, and don't tell me that you just have to call plays as a head coach in this league, because I went through division leaders and playoff teams who have coaches who don't call plays, and they're some of the top coaches in the NFL. Dan Campbell, number 1 seed in the NFC. Mike Tomlin, playoff team. Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, Raheem Morris. Bill Belichick did not call plays. Nick Sirianni doesn't have to call plays to be a great head coach. Culture matters. Coaching matters. Development matters. Overseeing the operation matters. Hiring coordinators matters. Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio. Nick Sirianni's a damn good coach. Grade the Eagles' performance against Washington, A, B, C, D, or F. The performance from everybody during our watch party and postgame show, I'm giving y'all an A. I'm giving the Eagles an A too.